I never imagined that a simple joke could change everything. Yet that evening, in the quiet of our living room, the words I tossed out casually became the final spark, the moment that exposed the truth my wife had been desperately trying to conceal. Laura had always been clever, quick-witted, and full of life. Her laughter could light up a room, and her charm had been one of the first things that drew me to her. I loved that about her. I trusted her for it, or at least, I thought I did. Our marriage had appeared strong for years, built on shared goals, late-night talks, and quiet mornings. Ethan, ran a construction firm, juggling long hours and high-stakes projects. Laura managed her small event planning business, balancing clients and deadlines with a grace that always impressed me. We complemented each other perfectly. My calm, grounded nature against her vibrant, energetic spirit. Life was busy, but we made it work. But slowly, subtle shifts began creeping in. Missed calls, fleeting glances at her phone, whispered messages when I wasn't around. At first, I dismissed them as stress or distractions. Over time, though, the anomalies stacked up, forming a pattern I could no longer ignore. Something was wrong. Something was being hidden. That night, it all came to a head. We were having dinner, laughing about trivial things, when I made a joke. It referenced Mark, a name that had only come up briefly before, a colleague of hers who always seemed a little too friendly. "Careful, Laura," I said with a smirk. "Don't let Mark hear this, or he'll think he's a star of the show." I expected a laugh, a fleeting smile, maybe nothing at all. Instead, she froze. Her fork paused midair, eyes wide, pupils dilated in panic. The confident, charming woman I had known for years suddenly looked small, exposed, like a child caught in a lie. That single reaction said it all. She knew I had discovered her secret. In that instant, our world shifted. I didn't yell. I didn't confront her. I let the pause linger, letting her feel the mask she had worn so carefully fall away. The joke had been a subtle probe, and the truth revealed itself without a single word from me. That night, our marriage remained intact, but the foundation had cracked. I knew there would be no pretending things were the same again. After dinner, the atmosphere in the house changed immediately. Laura moved cautiously, tension trailing her like a shadow. She avoided my gaze, checked her phone discreetly, and spoke in clipped sentences. I didn't need to ask questions. Her reaction had told me everything. She knew I was aware of Mark. The secrecy, the lies, the late-night texts, all became crystal clear. I began observing her methodically. Every message, every call, every shift in tone became a clue. I wasn't angry in the chaotic, impulsive way most people might be. I was calm, deliberate. Betrayal demands clarity, not chaos. And I had clarity in spades. The woman I had trusted implicitly had been hiding something significant. Not a trivial matter, but a man, Mark, who occupied a space in her life she should never have allowed. That weekend, she had arranged a meeting with him under the guise of work. She thought it was private, thought I wouldn't notice, but I had already anticipated it. I quietly gathered evidence. Messages, photos, timestamps, everything to make the truth undeniable. Confrontation wasn't needed yet. The knowledge itself was power. The next evening, as she prepared to leave for her so-called meeting, I casually mentioned Mark again, with the same light tone I had used before. Her reaction was instantaneous. A sharp intake of breath, a glance full of panic. That tiny moment confirmed what I already knew. She had underestimated me, assumed my obliviousness, and relied on secrecy to shield her actions. I realized the only way to regain control was to expose the truth fully and on my terms. This wasn't about humiliation. It was about reclaiming authority over the life she had tried to manipulate. I planned the revelation carefully, timing it for maximum impact in front of those who mattered. People who had seen our marriage, her smiles, her charm, her carefully maintained image. By the time I confronted her, I didn't need to plead or question. The joke had done its work. The tension had built perfectly. The stage was set. Mark, the hidden figure she thought she could protect, was about to be revealed not as a secret, but as a centerpiece of her deception. I was ready to make it impossible for her to deny. The moment came sooner than she expected. I organized a small gathering under the pretense of a casual dinner with friends. Laura arrived, confident as ever, believing her secret was safe. She didn't notice me in the corner, calm, collected, the evidence laid out on my phone and laptop, ready to reveal the truth. As the evening unfolded, I let subtle hints slip into conversation. Casual remarks, knowing glances, questions that seemed innocent but carried weight. Laura stiffened immediately, her composure cracking under the pressure. The room shifted, tension spreading among our friends. Her carefully guarded secret began unraveling in real time. Finally, I addressed it directly. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't shout. I simply presented the evidence. Messages, texts, interactions with Mark. Proof of the deception. The room went silent. Laura's face turned pale. Attempts to explain or deflect died on her lips. The charm and laughter that had once defined her were gone, replaced by raw realization. The lies and secrecy had collapsed in front of everyone. Mark, the shadow she relied on, was no longer unseen. He became a central figure in the story, a silent witness to her betrayal. I felt a profound clarity. This was no longer about anger, revenge, or spite. It was about truth, accountability, and reclaiming control over a life that had been manipulated. In the days that followed, Laura avoided me, her usual confidence replaced by discomfort and regret. I moved forward deliberately, focused on myself, my life, my dignity. The betrayal had been hers. The response, measured, precise, public, was mine. I had taken control without chaos, without losing my composure. Walking through our home alone for the first time in months, I felt a weight lift. The lies, the secrecy, the manipulation, they were gone. Exposure had done its work. Betrayal had been revealed, and I had emerged intact. The lesson was clear. Trust can be broken, but dignity and self-respect can be reclaimed. Standing in the quiet of my living room, I knew this with certainty. My life, my choices, and my worth would never again be compromised by someone else's deception.